Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's go over what is happening with the stock, what I personally expect moving forward and all of that good stuff. So as per usual, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live on YouTube. That link is down below in the description of the video for just $2.99 a month. You can access all my intraday thoughts, post updates every single day on the market. The market is open for Tesla and sometimes other stocks as well. Like I did Visa today, for instance. And yeah, if you're interested for $5 a month, you get access to all of that plus NVIDIA daily updates every single day for $5 a month. But jumping into it, let's talk about NVIDIA. That's what we're here for. NVIDIA closing the day up about 2%, closing at $123.50 per share, up another 1% after hours off of Micron earnings, right? Micron earnings, of course, reported their, Micron earnings. Micron Technologies reported their earnings today, up a beautiful 12% on the day. So NVIDIA and AMD moving up in tandem with that out of sympathy. So what does this mean for NVIDIA moving forward, right? NVIDIA obviously had a pretty nice day for the past couple of days, right? Broke out of this nice little bull flag, bull wedge, or whatever you want to call it. Nice little back test. Didn't go as low as I wanted to. I was hoping for it to come back to really retest this breakout. They don't always do that, or sometimes they do it much, much later. Either way, nice little gap up. And then, now we're just pretty much kind of chilling right around 124, 125. And this is the main target, right? We pretty much hit it and we're back at it once again post markets. This is the main level I was talking about, right? 125-ish, right? That's the one I kept mentioning for quite some time because, well, that's pretty much right into this wedge. We're pretty much right at the top of this wedge now. And we're testing what in theory should be a major, major resistance. Maybe we break out of it, who knows? But this is a major resistance, right? So there's, pretty important test essentially coming up for the next few days. Does NVIDIA break above it and start closing and holding above it, or does it find a rejection and ultimately makes its way back down, potentially even as low as to the bottom of this wedge once again, closer to 110, 109, 108, something like that per share? That's the main question right now. I'm sure a lot of people are asking. So we'll see how it plays out. In my opinion, I don't really have a good tell as to where it's going to go. I mean, on the daily, for instance, it is starting to now, remember how I said if it does go up to 125, it's probably going to start getting overbought. Well, it's starting to get overbought. Now, granted, it's not extremely overbought, but it's starting to get slightly overbought, right? You can see the RSI now is surpassing the red line. Stochastic is now in overbought territory once again. But again, even with that being said, similar to Tesla, just because it's overbought, it doesn't mean it has to just move down tomorrow or something like that, right? It doesn't mean it, it can still go higher is the point. It can still absolutely go higher. There's still a lot more overbought territory and levels for it to go into before it's, getting more and more concerning, if you will, in terms of risk reward for their upside. But looking at trend lines, this is a potential massive area of resistance, right? So, even though it's not extremely overbought, it is slightly overbought and it's at a major trend line. So this could be an area for it to find some decent resistance before potentially getting a rejection. And again, at the very least, making its way back down to 120 to 118, if not all the way lower at some point in October, back down to about 110, we'll say, or 108, something like that. So those are the main things I'll be looking at right now. Unfortunately, it's not really giving me a very obvious direction right now, right? It's not giving me anything obvious. It's not telling me anything obvious other than the fact that this indeed is clearly a rejection area. So based on the wick, you can see there. So that I would say this is the only thing it's telling me right now. But, in terms of just getting a clear picture, kind of like, what we had back here, for instance, when we were in this little, wedge, for instance, which I will delete now. That was a little bit more of a clearer picture, right? In terms of like what we can expect in the levels to really watch out for. Or, back when we were dancing around that 21 EMA not too long ago, right? As long as we hold above it, it's bullish. And that's clearly what played out, right? But again, now that we're here, massive area of resistance. So I guess the way you can look at it is if NVIDIA can break above this area sometime, I don't know, this week, next week, right? Which will be pretty much, I would say, above 126. That's going to be pretty bullish. And if it does that, I would expect to move back up to about 130 pretty quickly. And then I'd expect a rejection most likely from there. And then I expect something like this, for instance, right? It'll look something like this. So if it, ultimately maybe zigzags a bit, finally breaks out, probably makes a move back up here, and then probably comes back down to retest this breakout range back down to about this 122-ish region. And then as long as that holds, I'd expect it to move even higher. That's kind of what I expect, right? So it'll either be reject here and move all the way back down, or we break out and move back up to one of these levels like this. And then ultimately at some point, I'd expect a retest of this breakouts, whether it stops at 130 or whether it stops at 135, nobody knows. But regardless, I would expect us to most likely reject at least at one of those two levels, assuming we get the breakout and then ultimately come back down in October to get that retest going. So that's just kind of what I'm looking at right now moving forward, right? That's kind of the main idea. I'm not going to lie, NVIDIA right now to me is no longer appealing. I did exit my positions entirely for this week. Made some decent money, honestly, considering it was only like a 2-day trade. So I'm happy about that. Not too not too upset at all. Definitely wish I went harder. I almost actually went a lot harder. I was very close to buying much more aggressively when we were at the bottom of that channel on the 1 hour chart a few days ago when we had that false breakdown. I was very close to doubling my position, but I didn't. I don't know why. I really wish I did, obviously, but I didn't. Nonetheless, still happy with the profits I made. I have exited my NVIDIA, and now I'm just going to be waiting and letting it see, or letting the stock kind of decide what it wants to do here. Does it want to break out and does it want to continue this run up to 130? Or does it want to get a rejection here and then ultimately make its way finally back down at the very least to 120, 118 for that retest? If not, losing that level, probably back down ultimately in October, which in theory should be the bearish month. A lot of people were expecting September to be bearish, the second half, which, I definitely was slightly part of that camp. There was always that possibility. But during an election year, and I've shared this seasonality like statistic before, the real seasonality bearishness kicks in October during an election year. And that's obviously the month that we're pretty much entering in just pretty much a week right from now. So keep that in mind. Just, take it for what it's worth. October is supposed to be the true bearish month during an election season and election year, not really September, not as badly at least. So we'll see. Again, seasonality is not perfect, right? It's not like 100% win rate for seasonality. It's like, oh, every time October, it's just going down 100%. No, it's not obviously perfect. There's always exceptions or else this would be too easy. But statistically, that should be the month where it should be pretty bearish. We'll see. We'll see. If it plays out though, and if October is indeed bearish, I would expect NVIDIA ultimately at some point in October to move back down to about 110 to 108. That's kind of my 1 month out, maybe 2-3 weeks out projection. But we'll take it level by level, day by day, and I'll give you my thoughts moving forward as per usual. But that's kind of all I got for you right now. And yeah, not really too much more to update. We can take a look at options flow very quickly. I guess NVIDIA is the most bullish flow today as well. You can see it is at about 27 million confirmed calls, which is a good sign, right? So the bulls are definitely stepping in. If we go over here, what is this? Bulls are stepping in on Nike a little bit too. A lot of SPY calls actually came in towards the end of the day, which is kind of interesting. We'll see how that plays out. And NVIDIA definitely had a nice amount of calls come in, right? Definitely more calls than puts that came in today. Maybe off of the Micron earnings. Maybe people expect this little gap up and they'll take profits tomorrow. Who knows, right? But NVIDIA definitely had more bullish than bearish flow today overall. That doesn't always mean everything. I want to make that very clear. Options flow, just like technical analysis, isn't perfect. For instance, back when we had NVIDIA's earnings not that long ago, what was this? All the way back here on August 28th. There was so much bullish flow coming in like right before earnings. Like the amount of bullish flow and millions of calls that I saw coming in on NVIDIA was pretty unbelievable. And then we just gapped down. And not only did it go the opposite direction, but they also get IV crushed. So they're losing like twice the speed essentially. So I just want to make that very clear. Just because options flow can be showing bullish or bearish flow, it doesn't mean it has to play out that way, right? It's not perfect, just like TA is not perfect. It's all about statistics, probability, and managing your positions and risk and trades relative to that probability that you believe that TA options flow or the combination of the two can be accurate in a specific direction, right? It's all about, it's this kind of like fine line and, managing all these factors and risk management and all that stuff with all these probabilities, right? That's kind of what trading really is at the end of the day. So again, I just wanted to kind of, give that little message out there that, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. But with that being said, the option flow was bullish. So take that as you will and do with that what you will as well. But that's all I got for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. All in all, NVIDIA is still bullish. I don't expect it to crash. But if I do expect it to crash, it'll probably be sometime in October, back down to 110 if it cannot break above 126. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.